coverage on Hurricane Erin.
Maka, Hurricane Erin is still a Category 2 storm, but it has intensified this morning. And you can see that depicted here on our satellite imagery. You can see the eye has reformed and the wind speed has come up about 10 miles per hour. Now, as we take a look at the track, it's expected to intensify back to a major hurricane before tonight as it encounters less in the way of wind shear as well as some warmer temperatures. But luckily, you see here, it continues to stay well away from the East Coast and away from Bermuda, at least the center of that storm. As it continues off to the north, which it is now off to the north at about 13 miles per hour, it eventually veers more northeasterly before the end of the week, coming closest to us by Friday. Still a hurricane this weekend, but then continues to weaken as we get into Sunday. That's the track, but it's a large hurricane, so there's a lot of wave energy that we're going to get pushed all the way across the eastern seaboard. We have a high surf advisory that runs until Saturday morning for large breaking waves. Around the islands, 8 to 13 feet waves are expected, as well as 4 to 10 elsewhere. And I think elsewhere, it's really going to feel that impact as we head into Friday. You'll likely feel an earlier impact on our southern-facing beaches as we get to Thursday. Dangerous rip currents can be expected as well. So just across the eastern seaboard, it's advised not even to get into the water over the next few days. So the wind field expands as Erin continues to move off to the north. And not only do the tropical storm force winds extend well outward from the center of the storm, but we also have this high pressure that's building in off to our north and west. That's going to drive a increased pressure gradient across our area, and then the wind is also going to increase. So some breezy conditions can be expected out of the northeast tomorrow, but the peak of the wind is likely going to be felt by Friday, and especially Friday morning, where you can see our wind gusts depicted here. Some of the strongest gusts felt across the Cape and the islands, pushing close to 40 miles and above that. So we'll continue to monitor this situation for you, and I'll have a check of our forecast in terms of our cool temperatures and the rain coming up.
First responders have already had to pull.
Feels a lot different, doesn't it? You want the umbrella with you, and you also want to have a jacket, right? As you look at radar and satellite, most of the shower activity continues to be lighter, overspreading Metro West, where you have some more orographic lift. You have a little bit more in the way of showers off to our west. And if you're across southeast Mass right now, some spots are still fairly dry. But for all of us, it feels pretty cool out there. Currently 63 in Boston, 56 in Worcester, so a mix of the 50s and 60s. Here's what's going to happen as we go through the rest of the day. Hopefully you weren't itching to see some sunshine. Our best bet to see any sunshine, that was earlier today. Clouds still going to win out. Showers continue at times as we get into the afternoon. I think the theme as we get into the afternoon, a lot of this activity is going to slide to the south, but all of our temperatures staying cool. Most of us holding high temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Brighter colors here indicating still that potential for some downpours as we go through this evening. So likely using the windshield wipers for that evening drive, and then we'll keep some of these showers around through tonight. They start to fade into tomorrow morning. There could be some leftover showers, but light stuff at this point across the Cape and the islands come tomorrow morning. We wake up to a lot of clouds, and then we get into some sunshine, but I think we're still holding on to a lot of cloud cover come tomorrow with high temperatures that are going to be close to 70 degrees. Rainfall forecast, higher amounts south of the Mass Pike, where some towns could pick up about an inch to an inch and a half. Of course, the main weather story continues to be Hurricane Erin, Category 2 storm, maximum sustained winds 100 miles per hour. It's currently about 400 miles south-southeast of North Carolina. North Carolina going to get the biggest brunt and the biggest impacts from this, with some heavy rain as well as some wind already. But really, the tropical storm force winds extend nearly 300 miles outside from the center of that storm. The reason we'll be talking about wind impacts along the East Coast. Tracking Hurricane Erin, it'll start to shift off to the north and northeast today and into tonight, keeping away from landfall, staying in between the East Coast and Bermuda. But as it continues north, that wind field expands, so that's why we'll be talking about the potential for some gusty winds as well as some ocean impacts. So wind picking up Thursday, likely peaking into Friday morning, with the biggest impacts felt across the Cape and the islands, gusts 40+ miles per hour. We also have a high surf advisory that's running through Saturday morning for large breaking waves. We're talking about wave heights anywhere from 8 to 13 feet across the islands, 4 to 10 elsewhere in that surf zone, and along with that, dangerous rip current. So just stay out of the water. Although today you're not thinking about going to the water because it's not really a beach day, but looking forward into the start of the weekend, you'll likely want to get into the water. Just wait it out. High temperatures closer to average for this weekend.